blow up negative aspects of government. In a video posted to Twitter yesterday, Bevin is seen using a grenade launcher while joined by members of his cabinet.
When I was elected a couple of years ago, I talked about blowing up things like red tape, blowing up things like corruption, blowing up things like pay to play and inside deals where a handful of people were getting their wheels greased at the expense of all the taxpayers of Kentucky.
The video, shot at the penitentiary in Eddyville, ends with Bevin saying, "We are Kentucky." I'm Jerry Bloom.
This is the Kentucky News Network.
Alabama, live in concert.
Song of the South.
Friday, December 7th, Rupp Arena. A historic night in Lexington, Kentucky for one night only.
Like Grandma.
Alabama with Ricky Skaggs.
Stay country boy.
And the Kentucky Headhunters. Tickets on sale now at Ticketmaster.com. Presented by iHeartRadio.
Coming soon to a collision near you. Wasted, fried, hammered, blitzed, baked, bombed, bent, plastered, wrecked, trashed, totaled, tanked, stoned, soused, sloshed.
No matter what you call it, call for a ride before you drive. Drive sober or get pulled over. Paid with federal funds through the Kentucky Office of Highway Safety.
Here's your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast.
Temperatures will fall throughout the day, and by this afternoon, we'll be down to 48 degrees. Our biggest chance for showers before 3 o'clock this afternoon, about a 90% chance of that happening. Again, the temperature dropping to about 48. The overnight low tonight, 40, will clear in the evening and overnight hours. We'll have lots of sunshine Tuesday and Wednesday, a high each day around 58. But again, for today, look for the temperature to drop. A chance for showers till about 3 p.m.
Your WPKY Weather Edge Weather Center forecast is brought to you by Kay's Kitchen.
Are you looking for a bank that still has old-fashioned values that will offer you the latest technology and banking services? Take a good look at Fredonia Valley Bank, located in Fredonia and Eddyville, a full-service, real community bank. If you're needing a new construction, checking, savings, certificate of deposit, or IRA, look no further than Fredonia Valley Bank. Good customer service is what we've built our reputation on through the years, and it's what we continue to stand by each day, with locations at 602 Cassidy Avenue, Fredonia, and 226 Commerce Street, Eddyville. Member FDIC, Equal Housing Lender.
Black Pipes Grill is excited to continue bringing you the taste of Ireland on our menu. Traditional Irish dishes are available for lunch and dinner. So enjoy your favourites like the Irish burger, bangers and mash, shepherd's pie or beef and Guinness pie. And don't forget fish and chips every Friday night. Enjoy the beer of the week with your meal or one of our specialty cocktails. Black Pipes Grill is downtown's place to relax and enjoy a meal with friends and family. Black Pipes Grill, Main Street, Princeton. Check us out on Facebook.
If you're thinking about a new sofa, then you need to head to Brantley Furniture in Princeton. They have a huge selection, and you can get a sofa set as low as $5.99. Come in and get the sofa you want at a great price. They have bedroom and dining room furniture, accent pieces, signs, pictures, gift items. They have baby furniture and gifts, a baby registry, and a bridal registry. They even have 12 months same as cash and new arrivals every day. Be sure to follow them on Facebook for updates. Brantley Furniture, located in the heart of downtown Princeton.
Good morning. It's 8:09 at 1580, 103.3 WPKY. Bill, and a retired educator, a man of many talents, Roy Gene Rogers. How are you, Mr. Roy?
I'm doing okay. Kind of wish this rain would let up.
You are not a cold weather fan.
No, I am not. I'm ready back for the 90-degree weather. So,
now I have a little extra spring in my step, but I did dress appropriately. You did too. We kind of have to go with the layered look, and it's one of those crazy days where the temperature as we go on is going to get lower.
Lower, yes, saw that, and that's not what I like as far as weather is concerned. I know we have a lot of people in the county that were looking forward to cooler weather, and they got it. They got it.
Well, you know what, though, with the rain and the cool, maybe we'll have some pretty fall leaves. We'll have a beautiful show. Maybe Mother Nature will kind of paint the forest a little bit. We'll have some yellows and reds in a nice looking fall for a change. A couple of falls I remember, it just seemed like they just turned brown and fell off. That was
yes.
it.
Sure did.
I feel like we got Jim. We were talking, obviously, because of your career, you're a big believer in education. We were talking, and I love history, and the importance of local history that kind of just makes a community unique. And there's so much history in Caldwell County and in Princeton. And you were talking about the efforts in the genealogy library. A lot of folks do a lot of work on this, but the efforts to try to preserve this history and have records so that young people growing up in this can appreciate their heritage.
Our students, well, I say our students, but I would like to be able to get something in their hands, not a big volume, but several small volumes of the history of Caldwell County. Events, places. Todd Griffin and I several years ago talked about, we had a lot of baseball teams here in Caldwell County, and hopefully I can get Todd on board and we can maybe put down some locations of where those baseball fields were and some of the teams that played. Other things to look at, I mean, our courthouse. There's hardly a day goes by that you don't have people in the clerk's office looking up records.
Right.
Well, why does Caldwell County have our records preserved and other counties don't? I mean, the Civil War came, a lot of the courthouses were burned, records were destroyed. So that's something we look at. It all started here about a week ago. I put something on Facebook about the Harpendine House. And Harpendine House is... Harpendine.
Okay, I wasn't sure how to pronounce that. I was saying Harpendine.
Harpendine.
Gotcha.
And it's located on Highway 902, back towards Trigg in Lyon County. And a lot of history about it. The Great Diamond Hoax.
This guy was a pretty colorful character.
Oh, he was.
I chuckled to myself reading the news story because this guy, I guess today, what would we call an entrepreneur, or was he more of a confidence man? Like what we'd say, a con man?
See, he denied a lot of the charges against him. If you read into, there's a lot of articles on him, and he denied being the mastermind, I guess, of this hoax. But still yet, would I call him a con man? Yes, I would.
Asbury Harpendine Jr.
Yes.
And he was originally, we blamed Christian County for this one because he was born in Hopkinsville.
His dad was married, I think, 4 or 5 times, and all of his wives died. But Junior here, he was a Southern sympathizer. He tried to raise a little money for the Southern causes.
He went to, didn't he go to Richmond, Virginia, to the Confederacy, or did he was trying to get a deal work there?
Yes, and he got arrested there. He was in San Francisco. The man was all around. The story goes that I guess his father gave him about $20 or something of that nature he was going to go on a trip. Well, he ended up, I think, buying bananas and apples and sold them while he was on the ship and made a lot of money, and that kind of set his taste to making money. And you come back to the Harpendine House. I mean, a lot of stories, and I used to haul hay for Mr. Boyd Satterfield. My brother would bale the hay, and my crews would haul it. And Mr. Boyd, there's a lot of stories surrounding the Harpendine House, that there were tunnels leading from the house to the stables where there was always horses saddled so they could get away, that there was a coffin upstairs. Now, Junior had 5 children, 3 girls. The youngest, or one of them, died while they were here in Caldwell County. And the story goes that they kept her body upstairs in an airtight coffin.
Oh, my goodness.
And there was, you read different reports, you read different stories, but supposedly they had armed guards around the house and at the entrance of the farm. He was a wealthy man.
And it sounds like he was eccentric,
wealthy. And the house, it had running water in every room. Now, a lot of different stories that are told about that house. And then the story also goes that people went in to check on them one day, and there were dishes. They were set on the table, getting ready for a meal, but no one was there, and the family had disappeared. So, lots of stories about it.
So just here one day and gone the next, and never came back, left everything?
Yeah, they did not come back. Story goes that he died in New York. I think he was 83 years old. But then if you do a little more research, you'll find out that some people say that wasn't him, that was an imposter, that was somebody that was just acting like him, that actually he was maybe deceased before then, or that he was actually in hiding. So a lot of different stories. You can Google him. He had, two of his sons, they were also interesting. One of them, Asbury III, he went off to sea, and very little is known about him. And then he had another son by the name of, I think it was Albert, and hardly anything is known about him. So
wow.
It's like I say, Mr. Satterfield, he would ride with us. We was talking about things that go bump in the night. A lot of these high school boys that worked for me back then, you had to cross an iron bridge, and we heard stories about people that had been killed on the iron bridge, and you go up a lane, and trees overhanging that lane, and then one night they all just came down. They were all sitting on the hood of the truck, or hanging on the cab or whatever, but you see strange sights, and we made that's part of the Harpendine story.
Oh,
yeah.
Now what happened if he just left the house, and evidently it was a pretty nice size estate? I wonder what became of all the physical property.
Well, now the house was destroyed, torn down, and there were no tunnels found when it was torn down. I'm going back, I'm thinking that part of that estate ended up, you said he came from Hopkinsville, he was born there, and I think there were those that were part of the estate. I think that was eventually, part of it was sold.
Okay.
I've done research at the courthouse on Harpendines, and tried to trace some of the deeds back.
Yeah.
Starting with Mr. Satterfield, going back to what happened, and I think that they were heirs that property was sold.
Okay, so the family or the heirs in Christian County probably.
Yes, I believe that is correct.
Took that over. Yeah, we said he was an adventurer, a mining entrepreneur, and this guy was. I guess if there was $1 to be made, he was going to figure out how to do it, huh?
You read the stories about what he did, and apparently one of his children found some of the diamonds, and they were throwing them out an upstory window, and he noticed that and became very irate and upset, and the story goes that he was standing at the top of the stairs shaking his cane, and he wasn't very happy that they were throwing his diamonds away.
No, well, that's true. That was probably his retirement plan. And so you've got a whole program, not this Thursday, but a week from this Thursday on the 25th. Yeah. And I guess everybody's invited. It's going to be at the Genealogy Library?
Right. Someone suggested that we meet and share some stories, and the sons of the Confederate veterans, the SVC, they were able to arrange for us to use the Genealogy Library. Now, we're not going to share all the story, everything about the Harpendine. As you and I were talking, we have a lot of history here in Caldwell County. The Elkhorn Tavern, just the Ghost Walk that we was talking about. The Ghost Walk at Fredonia, that was for 1 or 2 years, and you have a lot of history there. East Side School, West Side School, Fredonia School, Crider, all of those we need to preserve, and my goal is goal is that we are able to put some stories together, put them in small paperback books, not a big volume, and let our students have a chance to read about the history of Caldwell County. My big thing, when I was young, I mean, I'm talking about 11, 12, 13 years old, seems like a long time ago.
I was going to say, it's only about 30 years ago, right?
Yeah. But I would strip tobacco. I'd be in the barns with my Uncle Frank Webb and Mr. Roy Francis and several of the older people then, and they would tell me stories. They would tell about the history, like the Night Riders. Uncle Frank said there was 2 different places here in Caldwell County that had the same name, and those that were coming from Trigg County and Christian County met on the southern part of the county, and those that were coming from the northern section of western Kentucky met out here on John Call Hill. And, you know, the destruction that would have taken place would have probably been greater if those 2 had gotten together. But apparently those from the northern part of the county dispersed and went on back home because they thought something was going on. So stories like that, if you go down Main Street, West Main Street, you'll notice a lot of the older houses, not necessarily anymore because a lot of them have been torn down, but they were all built the same. Well, that came from the WPA. And our courthouse is so rich in history, and then those buildings there in Princeton, a lot of history about them. That's one I posted here the other night. I said, if you walk around the courthouse, how many eyes are watching you? And we actually had people go up and walk around the courthouse to see how many eyes, and I wasn't talking about the ones in the courthouse and the annex or Black Patch Grill. I was talking about the ones that are embedded on the courthouse and the buildings surrounded. There's 17 eyes.
Wow.
And then the other is the IOOF building, I think. There are faces on it. Well, what do those faces represent? Who are they? So there's history like that. I know the Fredonia Cemetery and Cedar Hill Cemetery are full of historical individuals, but they're not the only cemeteries. So what I'm hoping to do is maybe an organization meeting, share some stories on the 25th, and arrange for us to continue to meet.
So it's going to be more than just talking about the Harpendine House.
Oh, yes,
Yeah,
yes.
okay.
I mean, the Harpendine House, you can go online and you can get books and you can read a lot about the Harpendine House, but there are some stories about it we will share. But hopefully there's going to be other people there to share stories about other parts of the county. I mean, one thing that I'm trying to find out now is, you know, how did some of these little communities, Scacey Fat, Pumpkin Center, Crider, how did those little communities get their names?
Because you know there's a story there.
There's got to be, and probably named after someone that settled there, but maybe necessarily there's something else that goes with that. So hopefully, like 3 years ago, I was telling you about a little book we put together. Pam Rogers Fawn had some interesting characters from Fredonia in it, and I shared some of the stories that I'd heard growing up. And we had a meeting at the library. Miss Barbara Van Hoosier, she shared about Grubbs Crossroads, the only Civil War battle really that took place here in Caldwell County. And she shared stories about that, hopefully. And I'm keeping my fingers crossed that we're able to gather stories about Caldwell County, all of Caldwell County, put those together and make those available. Not only, I mean, you and I were talking, students today lose out on local history, they lose out on state history. Kentucky is also rich.
Yeah, well, they
Insider.
teach U.S. history, don't teach Kentucky history as much. I remember they taught it when I was in school, of course.
Yep.
That was many years back.
Right. I mean, when I was in school, they taught Kentucky history, but it wasn't but about 5 or 6 years old at that time. So,
yeah. Yeah, so why not teach Caldwell history?
Right. Yeah. Or even just give them a chance for a week or so to look at that. And then these books, as I stated a while ago, we have people coming from all over the United States to look up documents. And we're fortunate. The genealogy library,
Boy, I'm telling you, for a community this, I have never seen a library like that. That's an amazing thing.
And people, why not have those books? Why not have something that someone can pick up and take a look and take back with them? So I'm going to be working on that, and hopefully we're going to have some help to.
So you kind of hope the seed might be planted for this on the 25th. You'll get some good information.
Yes,
some
I mean,
folks that are interested.
the 25th is the opening night for the Wall That Heals in Paducah. So I know we're going to lose some of those that have shown a lot of interest in the historical aspect of Caldwell County.
Mm-hmm.
But it's cool weather, it's cold weather. We can schedule other meetings and hopefully get things going.
6 p.m. at the Genealogy Library, Thursday the 25th.
25th, yes.
Okay, well, we come back. Got a question I'm going to ask Mr. Roy Jean here. It's 8:26. You're listening to WPKY Radio.
Napa know-how. This month, a 2-pack of Napa Night Vision headlamps is up to $10 off. Because with fall comes longer nights and poor overall visibility. Luckily, our headlamps have superior illumination, which helps reduce the chance of an accident. See better, drive safer, with up to $10 off a 2-pack of Napa Night Vision headlamps. Quality parts, helpful people. That's Napa know-how.
Napa know-how.
At participating Napa Auto Parts stores. Offer ends 10/31/18.
Hurry into Lowe's today for savings on everything you need to get started on fall projects, like overseeding and feeding your lawn. You'll find the lawn care products right for your area in stock at Lowe's, plus the know-how to help if you have any questions, like what to do now and what to do next. Plus, find savings to perk up your curb appeal with new mulch and fall plants. Whatever's on your to-do list, start now and save on what you need. All projects have a starting point. Start with Lowe's.
Well, Goosebumps, PG, and First Man, PG-13, made a big entrance into the box office this weekend. We've got them at the Capitol. It's Goosebumps 2, PG. Halloween's right around the corner, and it shows Monday through Thursday at 6:30. Full-length animated family movie. Cinema 2, First Man, the first man to set foot on the moon, PG-13. How they got there and the problems they had. It shows Monday through Thursday at 6:30. And finally in Cinema 3, and for the last week, it's Venom, rated R. It's a scary movie, of course. It's from the Marvel family of superheroes and comic books and movies. Venom, rated R, shows Monday through Thursday at 6:30. Now this will be the last week for Venom. I told you that earlier. Tell it again. And coming Friday, Jamie Lee Curtis in Halloween 2018. A return from the old Halloween that we know from years ago. That's rated R. Starts Friday. That's your lineup. More questions? Call us during movie hours, 365-0200.
Since 1978, Perry's Floors & More has been selling, installing, and servicing homeowners throughout Western Kentucky with quality flooring and workmanship. Perry's Floors & More carries luxury vinyl plank and luxury vinyl tile, carpet, window treatments, and more. Brands like Mannington, Shaw, Tarkett, Beaulieu, and Flexitech. Quality brands, excellent customer service, combined with 40 years experience is why they say you can walk on our reputation. See Bill and Lucy at Perry's Floors & More, 127 West Market Street, Princeton.
Doctor is in at Health First Community Health Center. Dr. Jamie Perry is ready to care for the community, providing primary care services at 1100 South Jefferson Street in Princeton. October is the beginning of flu season. Protect yourself with a flu shot at Health First Community Health Center. Call today to make your appointment at 1-877-667-7017. Same-day appointments available and walk-ins are welcome. At Health First Community Health Center, your health is their first concern.
Hancock's Neighborhood Market on Commerce Street in Cadiz is the place to shop for delicious homemade goodness. Hancock's makes their own fresh chicken salad, pimento cheese, salads, and a variety of mouthwatering desserts, sure to please your entire family. While at Hancock's, be sure to visit their meat department for the best selection of USDA choice meats in the area. Hancock's Neighborhood Market in Cadiz, hometown homemade goodness, and the Hancock name you know and trust for quality for your family. Hancock's Neighborhood Market on Commerce Street in Cadiz.
It's 8:30 at WPKY. Bill Booth along with Roy Gene Rogers. And don't forget that big event is coming up at the Glen Martin Genealogy Library, 6 p.m. Thursday, October 25th. If you love local history, you won't want to miss that. But I've been hearing, when I grew up in Marshall County, the thing to do was you had to go, there's a cemetery in Benton, and it had the glowing tombstone. It would glow in the dark. We just thought that was the coolest thing. If you were brave enough, when it got dark as a kid, you would go out there. Of course, I guess it was made out of phosphorus or something that absorbed the sun during the daytime, but it would glow at night, and that was the big deal. And I'm hearing something about Gravity Hill. Somebody was trying to explain that to me, and I wondered if you could break that down for me.
Well, now Gravity Hill's out here on 62, and you go and you park your car, and your car eventually, if you park it under the bypass there, it would eventually come up to 62, and you're going up grade. A lot of the stories, and this is folklore, that a man and his two daughters were killed there, and they'll push you out of the way. That is not true. That is not what happened. I'm going to share today the real story of Gravity Hill. Way back, I think it was the 50s or 60s, there was an object that fell out of the air, and it landed across the road from 62.
Now, this was the 50s. That's when the Little Green Men deal happened in Kelly, Kentucky.
And like I told you a while ago, I've been as close as to Trash Hughes to 2 flying saucers. And one of those I rode up, and we were talking about Bruce Perkins. Bruce was not in the truck with us, but we chased his object, and that's when they were coming to kidnapping people. But
that was a disc.
Yeah, and I mean, we could describe it. And next day at school, Mr. Dale Fon was our science teacher, and Bruce, I went back to the house and called him. He was in Fredonia, and he got out and looked, and he saw it over the water tower, and we described it the next day to Mr. Fon. Well, we wrote it up, sent it to a national publication, and come to find out we got published. There was 500 and some odd sightings that night in western Kentucky, Illinois, Missouri.
So you weren't the only ones that saw this this object? Yeah.
No, and then I was close to one again. We were kind of like looking for deer poachers, and one came up behind a clump of trees, and there it was again. So
was there noise with it, or
no?
Was
no noise.
Just completely quiet.
Yes, and it came up, and it was a disc shape. 2 saucers on top of each other, little rectangle lights there that you could see, projectiles coming out from underneath it, and it came up, and zoom, it was gone.
Wow.
So, but back to Gravity Hill.
Sorry, I distracted you.
No, it was the Little Green Men. That's over close to you.
Yeah.
But there was supposedly an object that fell out of the sky, created a crater there across 62, where 62's at now, in a hayfield.
Okay.
And during the night, the government came in and removed that object. Well, the magnetic field that surrounded that object is what pulls your car up the hill.
So as long as your car is made out of metal.
Yes. Now, a lot of these plastic cars now, it may not do it, but you can go. I was
so
going
it'll pull your vehicle kind of uphill, so to speak.
Yeah, I was going to invite you and Beth, sometime.
I think that'd be great.
Yes, it takes about 15 minutes. You can go out there, park, and it just pulls you up the hill. We got a lot of stories like that here in Caldwell County.
That's somebody was trying to explain that to me. I'm like, come on, and then like, no, it's for real.
It is.
You can do it.
Yes, we will park your car under that bypass, and next thing you know, you're rolling uphill.
Well, we may already have covered it. But I have to ask you, because I know you've done so much research, and have you ever lived anywhere but Caldwell County?
No.
Okay, so you lived in Caldwell County all your life.
Right. I was born in a little community down here called White Sulphur, Crider community. Went to school at Fredonia, graduated from Fredonia, graduated from Murray, started teaching, and this has been it.
What's been the strangest or most unique thing you've ever heard of happening in Caldwell County? I mean, maybe that was it.
There's a lot of things.
And some of it is documented local history truth that you can't believe.
I put another post out asking how many people remembered Peg Leg Lock. Peg Leg was our local hobo and took up residence here. And I mean, we've had a lot of shootings. We had a sheriff that was shot while serving a warrant. We had a body dumped out on the Cadiz Road from a man, I think it's Oklahoma, where he kidnapped the woman and put her in the trunk of a car, and he actually dumped her out there on the road.
Wow.
Or off the road. And Steve Wallace, when it was the news, man was captured eventually, and he was talking about where all the bodies were. Well, I think Steve Wallace said he recognized where that place was, and he was able to lead authorities, and I think they recovered her remains.
Wow.
But, I mean, we've got a lot of strange things that have happened here in Caldwell County, and it's interesting. It really is, and that's what I'm hoping people will do. Share stories about what you've seen. We've had people that you've got Confederate soldiers that coming out of the fog. I mean, I've had hay haulers say that they go by this particular place and you'd see Confederate soldiers coming out of the fog. And like you, we've got places, cemeteries that glow in the dark. Back in the 60s and 70s, we had our own, or 70s, we had our clown out on Highway 290. What is 292 or 290 out there?
Some people have a fear of clowns.
Well, he was out by right outside of town there, and people would say, well, there's a clown standing out there beside the road.
Wow.
And several people saw that clown. And actually, I think there was a clown, but I think maybe an individual dressed up as a clown, but you know, Barbecue Valley out in there, that area, and a lot of strange things that have taken place here in Caldwell County.
Well, I think that's evident because I asked you how the Ghost Walk went. You said it was a complete sellout.
Sellout. Those people do a super job, and again, that's history. That cemetery is full of people that have been instrumental in Caldwell County and Princeton, and the same thing with Fredonia. That cemetery is full of people that the tombstone, I gotta say it's full of people. I guess that, I don't know how to rephrase that. It's the remains of those people.
Yes.
But a lot of history there. But stories about Cedar Hill. I've had people, and I'm talking about people that well known in this community, talk about things that have happened up there. And so, you know, lots of things that can be shared. Of course, we don't want to share those things with our students. We want more of the historical aspect.
Sure.
Yeah, but those stories about things that go bump in the night, those might be interesting.
It's a fine line, folklore and then actually documented local history, but it does make for a good
Elkhorn
story.
Tavern. I mean, it's something. Big Springs down there. What's the history about it? The Trail of Tears. Elkhorn Tavern was located on the Trail of Tears, and that's right down where I was born and raised. And like I told you a while ago, I played basketball from Fredonia. Well, didn't have a car, so the bus, if we were playing at Princeton or someplace like that, they'd drop me off.
Didn't have those fancy glass backboards, had wood.
And I would walk past I would run past the Elkhorn Tavern, because in the Elkhorn Tavern, supposedly you could see a lady standing in the top of the window. And on certain nights, you could see a silhouette. And there was a rocking chair in there. And that rocking chair would rock back and forth. But that's the scary part. And then you go to the historical part. That was the Trail of Tears. I mean, that was it.
Wow.
The Varmint Trace. Everybody, well, that's just a street name here in Princeton. No, Varmint Trace has much more history about it than just being a street. So those are the things, man, I'm hoping that we can put this together. It may not happen, but I'm hoping that we can.
Well, we're not getting any younger. We got to get it going.
And we're losing, I mean, you start losing some of those. Mr. Mac Franklin, Donaldson Baptist Church, I talked to him on several occasions, didn't record it, didn't write it down, but that man was a wealth of information. And we're losing, I say the older generation. I am part of the older generation, but we're losing those people that can tell us those stories. So,
well, the important project, and hopefully get the kind of plant the seed and get things in motion. Thursday night, 6 p.m. on the 25th. That's going to be at the Glenn Martin Genealogy Library, and I appreciate your time today. I feel like I learned something.
You and Beth, just let me know when y'all want to go to Gravity Hill.
We'll do it. You know what? She'd be all about that.
I
too.
hope so, and we'd like to take you.
You could be our personal guide.
Right.
I'd love it.
Take you out there. So
I think that would be very, very interesting and fun to document too. Roy Jean, thanks for all you do, and thanks for your time. And we'll give a shameless plug now to some folks. Just a quick reminder, we'll have more on that later in the month, but you've got one more political forum coming up for local races on the 30th?
Yeah, we have it scheduled for the 30th. We were going to do it during fall break, but several candidates were out of town. This is just one where the candidates can come and give a little speech for city council and for mayor.
Okay.
I know some of them have said, well, people got their mind made up by then. Well, a lot of people don't make their minds up till they go into the voting booth. So any opportunity to be before the public, I think, would be beneficial. But we'll discuss that. We'll look at it. Brock Thomas, I'll talk to him some more and see what we're going to do.
So it's a possibility. So if it we'll let you know for sure on WPKY. So
hey, thank you for having me in. I appreciate it, and maybe we can do a follow-up on it.
Yes, sir. That sounds like a plan. Thank you. Roy Jean Rogers on WPKY.
Napa know-how. This month, the 2-pack of Napa Night Vision headlamps is up to $10 off, because with fall comes longer nights and poor overall visibility. Luckily, our headlamps have superior illumination, which helps reduce the chance of an accident. See better, drive safer, with up to $10 off a 2-pack of Napa Night Vision.